This is the podcast overview for Chapter 12, Objectives, covering social psychology. So the first part of the chapter is looking at factors that influence people or groups to conform to the actions of others. So it's really looking at the area of conformity, made famous by Solomon Asch. So we're going to be taking a look at that. I've also got a video this week about that you can watch. So we're really looking to see the ways that other people can impact our behavior. We are more likely to conform with what others are doing when we're in the presence of others. So we're going to be looking at all the various ways that presence of others can impact our behavior. And we'll specifically look at a few different compliance techniques, comparing and contrasting those. These are tactics used to get someone to do what you want, to comply. And this is used by the media, this is used by advertising and marketing, parents, teachers, pretty much anyone who's wanting to get someone to comply with a request that they're making. And then we're going to turn to obedience, looking at the factors that make obedience more likely. This is obeying an outright command by someone in position of authority. And this is the area of the Milgram study and the Milgram research, which we'll be looking at a lot this week. Then looking at components of attitude change and attitude formation. How do we form our attitudes? This is more than just opinions, but it's an attitude, how we feel about something or how we think about something in our world. How are those formed as we grow? How can they be changed? If we think one way, what's a tactic or strategy that can be used to change our attitudes? This is the golden question of media and advertising, is how do I get you to buy a product? How do I get you to like my site? So that'll be interesting to see some tactics that are used there and how people react when attitudes differ from behaviors. So when there's sort of a discordance, when I say one thing and I do something else, right? We think of that as being hypocritical. This is often actually very common in human behavior. We espouse to support an idea or an ideology or just a thing that we're in favor of or not in favor of, but then our behavior sometimes doesn't back that up, and we do something different. I think the best example is knowing and agreeing that smoking is bad for you, but doing it anyways. So we'll be taking a look at that in terms of when behaviors and attitudes don't match up. Then we'll look at impressions of others. How do we form impressions of other people? This is impression management and impression formation. The process of explaining other people's behavior. This is attribution theory. Like, I attribute your behavior to X, Y, and Z. You did this because, you are that way because. We have a way of trying to understand other people's behaviors, and it's in those explanations of their behaviors that it's very telling what we think about people. We'll then move into looking at prejudice and discrimination, how it's learned, where it comes from, and even how it can be overcome. And we'll spend a good deal of time on that. I have several videos about that this week. Also, interpersonal attraction is a big area of social psychology. Our attraction to others, not just intimate others, but friendships, and what makes us more likely to become friends with someone than another person. And what are the different types of love as outlined by Sternberg? He has a sort of a multi-pronged theory of the different types of love that exist and what those mean in each category. We'll also look at aggression. Aggression is part biology, part learned, so we'll be examining the factors that make up those different aspects of aggression, and then flip it to look at prosocial behavior and the factors that influence why people help others. So helping behavior, right, is the opposite of aggressive behavior. And then lastly, we'll end with conformity and group identity. What happens to us when we are in groups? How does our individual behavior change when we are within a group situation? And for this, we'll be turning to Zimbardo's famous Stanford prison study to look at how group dynamics played a role there. We'll also be looking at groupthink and some other factors as well with that. So that wraps up Chapter 12, Social Psychology.